Yeah, now you can all hear me. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush. I have a new workflow that haven't worked all the kinks out yet, but what Boss Rush would be Boss Rush without something going wrong at the beginning, but hopefully much smoother sailing now. My name is Chris Felicinos. I'm the host of Boss Rush, and I'm joined here today by my co-hosts, starting there in the corner.
Hello, Dean Takahashi. I'm editorial director of GamesBeat, and I help organize our GamesBeat events. There's one coming up on Monday.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that too. And somebody who wasn't joining us, but then decided to join us.
Just to confuse everyone, just to be a surprise. I'm Susan Cummings. I run 10-6 games in the UK.
Yep, and is amazing. And we're waiting on Mark. We're not sure if he's going to be joining us today. Hopefully he'll be able to join us. And our special guest today.
Hey, friends. Thank you. I love an air horn. My name's Alan Brooks. I'm the owner and founder of Continues Arcade restaurant and bar in Alexandria, Virginia. We're a different kind of arcade. Our food is by Spike Mendelson and Brian Lacayo. Spike's from Top Chef and owns a bunch of restaurants in DC. Our cocktail programs from Amber Price and Cassie Womack. We've got 60 arcade games and pinball machines from 78 to 2005. Everything is original hardware. Everything is played through tokens, so we don't use card systems. We don't obfuscate how much you're spending on a game. And we've got an incredible space, great community, and a ton of games to come and play.
That's right. We're going to talk about how the arcade came to be, and Alan's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But, buddy, we're so glad to have you here. So thank you so much for taking time out to join us. He also has an amazing set of T-shirts. So if you happen to be in the area and can get over to Continues Arcade, you definitely want to go ahead and check it out. But we're going to go ahead and check out the website there and all of that stuff. So, yeah, there we are. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm going to let Dean, if you want to go and lead us off in the discussion today with regard to, let's talk about the big top news, which is the GamesBeat Summit that is coming up there. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, I think we are in our, 18th or 19th year? Now I forgot. For the GamesBeat Summit. It's happening on Monday and Tuesday in Los Angeles at the Marina del Rey Marriott. We have a pretty good crowd that has signed up to come, and not quite sold out yet, so folks can still register. And we've got a day and a half of programming with 160 or so speakers. And we have 62 sessions happening across those days. I put out a post this morning on the categories of the tracks, and our most popular category, of course, would be gaming business, with a couple dozen talks in that category. But we also have, I think, entertainment has 5 talks. There are I think 7 AI and tech related talks, and 7 games, marketing, and advertising, which is kind of like a new category for us, and then a lot of other smaller categories as well. Game development's a fairly big one as well. So it's going to be a good event, kind of exciting to have it come around again, and should be fun.
I'm so bummed to miss it this year. Big thumbs up for the event. It's awesome. If it wasn't so far, I'd be there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the same. Let me see. What do we have going on here? Let me just double check, because some people said that. Okay, yeah, we got it. Now we got it. They said that audio wasn't working there, but surprise, it's LinkedIn, right? But it is working right across the channels. Just refresh if you go ahead and need to. Yeah, I'm bummed I'm not going to be able to be there too, buddy. I'm actually going to be up in Seattle for team meetings and stuff like that. So unfortunately, yeah, I won't. Where's my, there we go. I won't be able to make it down to the summit, but I mean,
GamesBeat Summit Europe, Dean.
Yeah. If we have to do that, where would that be?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are gonna do something like a couple of dinners and some podcast recordings and Gamescom this year.
Awesome.
So
Oh, fantastic.
toward the end of
Oh,
August, I guess, right? Yeah. So
sweet. Chris,
so
you gonna
not
come
not
out for
yeah.
Gamescom?
I'm sorry. What?
It depends. It all
Come on, come on.
it all depends. I definitely want to be there for sure. You know that. You know that. Yeah. It a lot of moving parts, a lot of travel right now for me. So.
Fun event.
Oh
Fun
yeah, it
city.
is. It's awesome. I mean, plus you get to go hang out in Cologne with all your friends and do all that stuff. Of course.
How
Mark,
long
Laura, and I
'Cause it's
had
cool.
a
Go ahead.
Mark and I had shared pig knuckles when we were at Gamescom a few years ago. We got most, which is like the specialty of Cologne. Now, I was a German minor in Cologne. I should know this, but I'd never been to Cologne. I'd never had a pig knuckle. We got 3/4 of the way through the meal only to find out we were eating it wrong.
Oh,
Big L for Mark and I who love food. We found out you're supposed to pull it apart and eat the inside of it, not the outside of it. So, anyway, learnings.
knuckle eating amateurs, I swear.
I know. And we were full by then. So we got the car on the wrong part of the big knuckle.
Oh, yeah. No more room to squeeze in one more knuckle.
Oh, I know. We tried at that point, but
We don't have, just for the record, we don't have pig knuckles on the menu. I can
just think about it. It's really good.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm sold yet, but I'll talk to my.
But then you could
executive.
call it literally a knuckle sandwich. And then,
Our dip trio is called Sonic Tales.
we're going to
Knuckles.
talk about that too.
Nice.
So yeah. All right, Dean. Well, good luck with everything I know. And thank you so much for taking time. Do you think you'll be able to join the live next week or no, given with everything you have going on?
Possibly, yeah. Depends on whether I'm taking the day off or not.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully this doesn't count as work, right? Because it's just friends. But awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk a bit. Since we have Alan here with us, Alan, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your arcade, where that idea came from, and tell us a bit about. Tell us who is Alan Brooks.
Well, so when I was a kid, my mom brought home a Commodore 64 for me from somebody at her office. I was born in 1982, so the Commodore 64 and I are the same age. And this is years after that. I was probably 6 or 7. And she brought home this box full of stuff and was like, I don't know what this does. Somebody at my office gave it to me for you and said, I don't know what it is, but it plays games. And if you can figure out how it works, you can play games. Because we were, we couldn't afford an NES. I couldn't afford a lot of things, but I loved games in my soul. And I had a subscription to Nintendo Power long before I ever owned a home console. I read them religiously. Games were here. And games were also the thing that kind of like othered me at the time because I was still considered a nerd and on the outside because games weren't mainstream yet. They were the thing that the nerdy, kid does. And so I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I didn't have a whole lot of people to play these games with. And so I found the space that I loved. And so she brought this Commodore 64 home and said, if you can make it work, you can play games. I made it work. I played games, yada, yada, yada. I own an arcade. Is that good? So I games became a safe space for me. They became the place where I found friends and community and loved ones. And I also was a performer. So I went through an acting career. I worked as a performer for a number of years. I worked as a high school theater teacher and then got a job at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in DC. And was a producer of arts integrated content for about a decade there, which is where I met Chris Melisinos because I saw the talk that he gave at the Art of Video Games exhibit with Hideo Kojima. And afterwards, there's this huge line of people waiting to meet Kojima. And I ran right up to the guy who was interviewing him and I was like, my name's Alan. I work at the Kennedy Center. Can we be friends? I love games too. And Chris said yes, and now we're friends. And I was, one of the only people there that recognized games as an art form and something that was worth uplifting on an institutional level to the same level as opera and theater and music and performance and dance. And so I got to kind of dig myself out of this little niche there, in which I was able to work on game content, games as educational platforms, games as literature in the classroom, that kind of stuff. And then went off and did a couple other things after I left the center, and through a couple of different opportunities presenting themselves, I was able to take on the lease at this warehouse in Old Town Alexandria. I met and became friends with our chef advising partner, a guy named Spike Mendelson, who was on Top Chef, who owns a bunch of restaurants in DC and has been, in kitchens since I got my Commodore 64. He was working back house at a family restaurant. And so he'd always wanted to do something in the game space or with pinball or this kind of family entertainment center. And so he said, I'd love to do the food. And now we have this beautiful, awesome arcade that we get to, bring people joy with every day. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it has been just an amazing journey to watch. And as you all were building all of it and everything. And one of the things that, when Alan was first talking about building this, there were a lot of conversations he was having with a lot of folks about, the best way to kind of structure all of this and do all this kind of do this crazy stuff. And he's going to be building an arcade. I'm so proud of you, man, that you were able to go ahead and get that done. But one of the things that we talked about was the economy of using tokens versus using like a card-based system. And Alan, share with us too the experience that you had watching people have to go ahead and figure out how to spend tokens around the arcade versus all you can eat play.
It's funny. So arcades now kind of fall into two buckets, right? There's the dive bar vibe that has a couple of different, maybe has some pinball, maybe has a small arcade, or is an arcade, but still really focused on cheap beer, cheap drinks, cheap food, divey situation. Or there's the family entertainment center, the FEC, which is places that rhyme with Dave & Buster's or Bolero, or these larger facilities. Round One is one of them. And those are focused really on commodifying the game playing experience, and has taken kind of the ticket-based games of our past into their natural conclusion, which is basically turning things into a child casino. And so whenever I would take my kids to one of those spaces, like a beach arcade or a family entertainment center, I would get so frustrated because I would be loading a debit card, paying fake money to fake money, that then would be turned into pretend credits for a gameplay. So if a kid swipes a card at, Miss Pac-Man, and it discounts their card 7.2 token or ticket credits, there's no value associated with that. And so it's just a means to obfuscate how much an individual is spending in order to extract as much money as is humanly possible. So it was really important to me for that reason to have actual tokens or actual quarters. Can't have quarters because if we had quarters, then we'd have to deal with the FEC, and we'd be or SEC. We'd be bank, basically doing cash advances for people to get quarters. And so a story that Chris, you actually told me about the art of video games that always lived in my heart, which is the story about the woman playing Miss Pac-Man and having this opportunity to reconnect with a lost family member through her touching and feeling this game again, got me really thinking about how important it is to put a token, a quarter, put a actual piece of currency into a game and play it based on how much you've given it, for as well as you can play it, for as long as you can play it. Because that tactile experience is indelible. We need to have those experiences with our games in order for them to live appropriately, and also honestly to honor people and not try to fleece them for however much we can. So our tokens are all 50 cents. You know, they're all of our games are at least one or two, or most 1 or 2 tokens. You know, truth in advertising is important to us here.
Sure. Well, so right. So then he was able to go ahead and build all this. We'll take a look at the menu in just a sec, just because I absolutely love it. And it's awesome. They decoupaged like all the tables using video game magazine art in their bar under basically not lucite, but yeah, like epoxy, right? They took all these different artifacts from friends of ours in the games industry that made games, things they've worked on, and now they're permanently basically ensconced right in this bar top so people could see all those artifacts. But the coolest thing, and it's the room that Alan is sitting in right now, there's a painting on the wall behind him that was commissioned by an incredible artist who happens to be the wife of Austin Wintory, right?
Yeah. So
and then show us real, just show us real, and where Alan is sitting in is a hidden speakeasy inside the bar, which we'll talk about in a second. I know
this
a hidden part.
Yes,
I always knew there were hidden parts, right?
So this piece is called Your Quest Begins, which is by Angela Bermudez, the artist you mentioned, which is meant to evoke going to the world of games with people you love. It's a large scale oil painting. It's beautiful. It's original. It's one of a kind. And Angela is an incredible artist. I think she's on all the platforms, and you can find her through our socials. But you should get to know her work. And because, of course, when you own an arcade, you get to buy the Master Sword. And then, so this room here is called the library. And it's our private dining room, which has our collection of gaming history, ephemera, and oddities from 1977-ish. You can see on the left there, your Odyssey, my Commodore, that Commodore 64 I was talking about is there, up through NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis era. You've got kind of ending here. We've got a Virtual Boy. We've got our newest edition is a TurboGrafx 16 all the way up there. Master Chief watching over us because it's called the library. And then it kind of ends in the GameCube 360 era. I've got a PSX here. So it's also got, we also have a lot of weird stuff that we found from all over, like that PSX, which is a Japanese only PlayStation that, plays both PS1, PS2 games, and it's a TiVo.
Right.
We've got Sharp Famicom Twin, the 3DO. We've got all sorts of fun stuff in here.
Well, here's the coolest part. So the way you get into the speakeasy, they have a video game cabinet called Polybius. For those that don't know, Polybius is the urban legend game, right? So you can read about it on Wikipedia and all that other stuff, right? So anyway, what Alan did was, and there's the logo for it, right? It was a game made by the CIA, and it made kids lose their minds and all this other stuff, and then it went away, and nobody ever saw it again. So there's literally a Polybius cabinet that's broken in the arcade, and when you go up to this broken, unplugged cabinet and punch in a certain set of controls, up, down, or whatever, and different button combinations, then you hear a chime, and this artwork on the wall unlocks and opens and is the door that you step into the speakeasy through.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, which I love that you did this, man. It is such a wonderful homage to Easter eggs, to our history as an industry, and then you get into this vault with all of these incredible artifacts that take you on that 40-year at that for where their collection ends right now, history journey of the games industry, and it's just really, really amazing.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite things, from being a fan of the industry forever, are those Easter eggs, and especially like Dean, I know you can relate to this. The back in the day, the journalists who would do an April Fool's article every year, you would get an EGM or an IGN. There would always be like the story that would come out, and for a while there, it would really get us really well, especially before we kind of understood what the internet was.
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to have
I
something.
never did that, by the way, because I felt like journalists should not be in the business of deception, right? But we did get fooled once at VentureBeat. I think when Mike Arrington, the tech blogger, said, "I heard that Google is going to go into the business of making nuclear power plants," and this was many years ago, where I think now it actually probably finally came true. but uh, but he said, and I'm gonna go back and publish this real soon. He was like speaking at a conference, and then like our people go like, "Oh, we're gonna beat Arrington on his own scoop," and, and so we published a story that turns out to be April Fool's Day. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he went back and just went, "Oh yeah, we don't know what Dean and those folks are talking about."
Yeah. That
So
is
good.
I didn't
so
write the story.
funny.
Yeah, but
Very
Yeah.
cool.
April Fool's. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we
Yes.
wanted to bring Alan on here too because, again, really just good friend of the show, an awesome games industry guy as well who's followed this stuff. And really what he put together with Continuous Arcade is really just, it's out of a love of play, a love of video games, and couldn't be happier for the success that they're having. So if you happen to live in the DC area or the DMV as it is, or you're heading out here, make sure you go ahead and check out Continues, and their link is in the Chiron underneath here. And
Yeah,
pretty
we're
easy to
Continuous Arcade on all platforms, and the space is open 6 days a week. We're open for breakfast every day. If you're one of our industry friends watching and need to host a launch party, we've got a space for 200 right, and the ESA is a stone's throw away. So
yeah, exactly.
I lived in Alexandria for like 3 months in an internship in DC. So
Oh, what internship were you doing?
I was going to school at Northwestern, and they placed us into different newspapers. So I was like the DC correspondent for the Idaho State Journal.
oh my gosh.
Wow.
So for 3 months.
See, but with that, I just want Dean to have on like a cap that says press, like sticking up out of the hat band. That is what I imagine.
That's amazing.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, Al, we're so glad to have you on here. And again, we'll, refer people back to the site as well. But we should probably move on with some additional news. Susan, what do you got?
What do I don't have a lot. I didn't too much this week. But I have brain dead.
You have your game is playable now, right?
Yeah.
It is. So it's been a lot of that. We
And I owe a review on it too, because I've been playing it too. So I need to do that on Steam.
Did you play it in windowed mode, Chris? Because we did that just for you.
I know you did. So no, but I will. That way I can show it, right?
We're gonna call it Chris mode. I think is what the option should say.
Distracted mode, for sure.
But yeah, it's 5 weeks till next fest, and so it's just lots and lots of like iteration and testing, and I'm really proud of the team, and it's all good reviews so far, so that's good. And we have our new PR team has come on board, and our like social media team has come on board, and yeah, it's all kicking off.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then next week, I'll go ahead and make sure that I download that,
Exactly.
and then we'll go and play some of it on the feed next week. Of
I
course.
said the name. You versus Zombies.
Yes, You versus Zombies. If you haven't seen it,
Versus zombies, yeah.
you need to go beat it.
No fun.
Yeah. All right. So there's a piece of news that popped up here from our good friend Dean Takahashi. I don't know if you know him, but this is something that I think is of interest to both Susan and Dean. Would love your opinions on this, and haven't a chance to read the full article. But Asus launches the ROG X-Real R1 gaming AR glasses. So Dean, did you have a chance to play with these yet, or?
I think I saw a demo back in January at CES, but nothing lately. So now they're actually shipping it, and it's kind of like playing a game or something that you connect it to, and then
Mhm.
you're playing it on like a 171-inch monitor that's right in front of your eyes, right? So
Is it,
that's
Gene,
their
is it
pitch for
any
it, right?
is it
Yeah.
any different from X-Real and what X-Real's been doing for a couple years now?
Mm, yeah, they didn't really go into the AR part of it yet, so I don't really
Mm,
know exactly
okay.
whether that is kind of differentiating it in some
'Cause I've
way.
laid in bed with my X-Real glasses watching a movie
Uh,
like that, and it
yeah,
was awesome when I was
yeah,
sick,
it's mainly for watching movies and things like that, but now
Yeah.
this is actually very focused on targeting gamers, right? So
Yeah, but is it so?
Cool.
I have a pair of the One Pros.
mhm,
The X-Real ones.
Yeah,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
I think these are basically a rebrand of those with a couple of small tweaks to like on the software side to have it
Yeah.
play nice with ROG branded products. I mean,
Mhm.
And
you
the
know,
design on the
yeah, and some red.
Because
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
neatness of it.
I mean, it's
I mean, it's cool. Look, I was in AR for a long time,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it's not the part of AR that I find sexy. Like I'm much more into like LiDAR and spatial understanding and things like that. But this is the part that's going to get to adoption, I think, first, is being able to sit on a train or in bed or whatever and
Mhm.
be able to, watch stuff.
Yeah,
And so,
low friction, and then doing things
Yeah.
that people are already doing, right?
yeah,
Easiest
Yeah.
way to get
Yeah, I
them.
don't
it's not the
understand how
sexy part.
people use them for like
Mhm.
I'm on the like the subreddit for Xreal, so I know when there's a software update, and it's always people are like, "Oh, this is my setup, and I've got this for my my laptop, and I use these for all my productivity needs." And I was like, I can't imagine a world in which this is more comfortable, and maybe it's because I'm old and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
But like where it is comfortable to have a laptop and then the glasses and trying to type and I can't see my hands. And
Yeah.
like I don't understand how they function from a productivity perspective as opposed to
Yeah,
just
productivity would be harder,
it's
but it is pretty good for just watching things.
yeah,
Right?
as an entertainment device, they're
Yeah.
super fun. I have it,
Totally.
playing in bed or whatever. It's
Mhm.
super fun. But
Mhm.
yeah, coding, I can't imagine is very fun.
Yeah, as somebody who is not a touch typist, that would be death for me to be. But those VR type of setups, I can't do it, right? Because I need to see the keyboard or be able to glance down and see where I am. But yeah, no, it's cool tech, more hardware, right? I love to play around with all of that stuff. So, all right, and then speaking of newer tech, well, it's not really newer tech, but it's interesting announcements here. Xbox enables insiders to test console updates like boot up experience. Dean, you wrote this. I don't know if there's any more to it than that, but
Yeah, I mean they're just testing it more, I guess, and sort of actually allowing fans to give their feedback before they go crazy, right? That you've done something to their favorite logo or something like that.
yeah,
Any kind of system changes, store changes, whatever. I think it's not perfect, but yeah, they're now consulting Xbox insiders for help and feedback, and yeah, I think this part you have up, yeah, is like your achievements now, or people can tell something about you by what kind of achievements you have, I guess, posted. Right? So.
but seeing the G surrounded like that reminds me of like GameSpot, right?
It really does have that vibe.
Right. Also, the 5 million one with all of those things around it. That's a bold choice, Cotton. That's what we have to say. So yeah, but it's good that they are soliciting feedback and stuff, especially with a new team in place before they, as you were saying, completely change things and force too much change at the same time, right?
I'm just trying to look up my gamer score and see how many olive fronds I'd have.
I don't know what that means, but
38,292 is my gamer score. So
Oh.
I am apparently useless on that scale.
Aw.
I love that we're trying to keep Gamerscore a thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there are people out there who really, really care a great deal. And I love the little ding dong that happens when I do something in a game that they wanted me to do. But like the fact that one ding dong is worth 5 imaginary game points versus 112 has never been appealing.
Okay, so Nate, you're saying ding dong, but in the Northeast there were these chocolate covered cakes.
Of course, the ding
with
dong.
cream. There's the ding dong. Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
It came up again when Asha Sharma got the job as Xbox CEO, right? Your gamer score on Xbox, and everybody asked her, what's your gamer tag? And then they look up, her achievements and all that, and like they found that like she had started an account like a month or two before becoming CEO of Xbox. And then somebody played like 30 games in that month on that account, right? And then
Yeah.
she said later then we figured out how to switch it off of the family sharing thing so that like, if her kids played or something, then they their score would not be like tied to that account,
Right.
right? So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So it's it was like a something that maybe the Xbox PR staff was involved in, I would guess. And then it should
I mean,
some people should not share.
They
their
own all the
tags.
data. They own all the data in the databases, right? Oh no, she's 20 years. Right. No, you can't do that either. You can't do that either. Well, we'll
She's a
see.
gamer.
We'll see how it goes. Well, speaking of gamer score, friend of ours, Lucian Parsons. Yay! Thank you, buddy. And I'm glad that you're here. It said, hey, have you all checked this out? And I had just popped up the site here. Howmanyareplaying.com. So I guess it's real time Steam, Fortnite, and Roblox feeds. Who's
Wow.
playing what?
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very
at the top
cool.
right now?
So here we go. Top 100 Steam games. Counter-Strike 2, man. Still right there
That's
at
wild.
the top.
It's just insane.
Oh, but look at number 4, the Subnautica 2.
Yeah.
They announced their news this morning. They announced is that they've sold 2 million into early access in 12 hours. So
Wow.
yeah.
Jesus.
Wallpaper
That's,
engine is number 11.
Yeah, the classic multiplayer game wallpaper engine.
Oh, yes, that's right. Not where you're wallpapering rooms, but you have wallpaper for your desktop. Is that what that is? Yes.
I guess.
Geometry Dash still up there. Wow. I love this. Grand Theft Auto 5 Legacy. That's where we are, right? Stardew
What they should
Valley.
put next to it so we can all be really sad is what year they came out. Because so many of these games are many years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Arc Raiders is down quite a bit in 6 months now. Right?
Yeah, where are they? 16 now. 70,000 concurrents.
Mhm.
And it
But
was,
I expect they're very. Where is Marathon? they're
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
higher than Marathon for sure, and Marathon came out much later.
Can I say that? All right, yes, I think this is really cool. But I guess my counterpoint would be it's showing that as an industry, we're focusing on this tail end of what happens afterwards, as opposed to the single player experience. Like my favorite example would be Manor Lords when Hooded Horse shipped that. And I love that Tim backed the developer up on this because they shipped the game, they sold 2 million units as a little indie developer, and that was awesome. And then people started giving them shit on LinkedIn about their concurrent users. And it's like, that was never meant to be that sort of game. What's wrong with a game that you play X hours on, you got your fill, and you moved on? It's good for our industry when that happens because it means you have time to play more games,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
if you look at the games that have come out this year and games that are huge, I mean, I'm never going to play Resident Evil 9 again. I played it and I enjoyed it and I got my time out of it, and then I went on to play something else. But I am going to keep returning to Slay the Spire 2.
But it's the same. Slay the Spire 2 as well. I got my fill for a while. They need to balance it. I uninstalled it. I'm going to go back to it.
Yeah, and like I think there's definitely the need and space for game, you know, your forever games and your one and dones. But when we commodify it all to be just how many players are playing your game right now forever, then we end up being an industry that's looking to make just more forever games, and we need developers to make games that are not going to be Marathon or Destiny or whatever.
And not to mention for developers, for indies, it's very hard to keep up the content cycle treadmill that's required for these sorts of things. You know, it's interesting that Stardew Valley's on there. Like, that's cool. Like, one person thing is still that successful. It's wild. But most of these games are like Counter-Strike 2, Dota, PUBG. These are all Apex. These are all games where they have huge teams that can afford like live support, live ops.
Yeah.
I have a sample size of 2. I have 2 kids who are 16 and 13. And what's interesting is Stardew Valley explicitly is something I never played. It was not, you know, sim games and cozy games are not my jam. They're not my. I probably got it 15 years ago in some humble bundle, right? So it was just sitting on my Steam library, and then some kid at school told my older son about it about 4 years ago, and so he came home and said, "Do we have Stardew Valley?" I said, "Yeah." So he installed it and he started playing it, and he played it religiously for a while, and then stopped playing it. And then my 13-year-old found it about exactly the same age. So there's just this like thing about that game that hooks kids, especially at that right time. And then they just lock into it and then they get away from it. And then I'm sure that'll be one of those games that my older son will kind of always come back to as his like cozy game. This reminds me of when I was 12 and was playing Stardew Valley. And this is fun. I'm going to go revisit this for a while. And that game, unlike games of its ilk, like even Animal Crossing doesn't have that level of capture with these guys, at least.
Well, I mean, this kind of leans into like the Mixtape thing, which I know you guys started to talk about the other week. I said, I still haven't played it yet, and I know it's super controversial. But one of the things that's controversial is it's a 4-hour game. I, for one, love games that only take me 4 hours to finish. I think that's awesome. It actually makes me more interested.
It took me 3 hours to get through.
Right. So let's talk about Dean's take on Mixtape. Dean, I did get a chance to read this.
You know, I've been discredited as the Cuphead guy in my praise for Mixtape social media already. So I don't know how much my opinion counts here, but hey,
dude, your opinion.
What is that about? What was the Cuphead thing?
I kind of goofed around the first time I played Cuphead and just did terrible at it, including at the tutorial. And then I was gonna say, I was coming home from Gamescom and I said, and then Jeff Grubb on our team says, "Oh, post it. It'll be fun. People will laugh." Right? Instead, everybody got offended.
But Susan,
to play this game.
Right. The offense was, he can't be a real games journalist because look how bad he is at Cuphead. A game that was supposed to be nothing but boss rushes, and then they threw this in there and didn't balance any of that. I suck at Cuphead. Okay,
well, I did too.
Many do.
Like I tried to finish it. Yeah, I tried to finish it, but I couldn't get past level 3, I think. And then I think what was it? 8% of the people who bought the game were able to finish it.
Yeah.
Right. So it was not your normal.
Well, I'm sure that 90% of those 8% were all game journalists. So
yeah, of course, and with more time than all of us. But
back to Mixtape though.
Yeah. I loved your review.
I rated it. How much does a 14-pound game need to be? How many hours do you really need for 14 quid?
Still cheaper than a movie ticket.
Yeah, that part. Yeah. There's so much of this discussion that's maybe not meaningful.
I'm gonna play it this weekend. I am absolutely gonna buy it.
It's a great game. It's like I think Gene Park at the Washington Post said it was like a John Hughes movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that offends people, is that like, it's more like a movie than it is like a game.
Yes, very much so.
Gameplay. there's a part involving tongues, which is actually very funny gameplay. But I think that uh, uh, these folks at Johnny Galvatron and Annapurna and Beethoven and Dinosaur, they all leaned into the idea of making an accessible game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is very.
I just bought it, by the way. I just put my money where my
Awesome.
mouth
So
is.
Susan, you are going to love it. I have
I know I
described
will.
this.
And Lee's excited about it too. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
I describe this as the best gaming experience that I've had so far this year.
Oh,
right?
wow.
It will make you smile especially if you grew up in the era in which the game and the story is kind of leaning into. The part that Dean wrote in here, though, since you brought it up, I'm going to have to read it. In Dean's review here is, what distinguishes the game is its witty dialogue, which doesn't rely on jokes related to brands from the 90s. And there's constant flip between cinematic scenes like the opening scene of the skateboarding down a mountain road and purely video game scenes, like when two teens kiss and you have to take control of their tongues to make sure they're appropriately mixing together. That part was hilarious, but
That's
also
awesome.
carries the bittersweet angst brought about by growth, transformation, and moving on in life. And that is what I felt watching the whole thing. It's like, it's obviously not the situation that you're specifically in, but you can remember a time when you're like, oh yeah, I remember where that kind of emotion would feel bigger than anything else in the world at that moment. And it does this so freaking beautifully. And the
And
the
this notion
soundtrack.
that like the mixtape
Amazing.
defines who you are, and
Right.
that, like back in the day when you made a mixtape for a friend, like you're saying, this is my taste in music. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean,
so-
and look at the licensed music. Devo, Roxy Music, Lush, Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Susie and the Banshees, Joy Division, The Cure.
Jesus.
I mean, just amazing.
God.
Yeah.
So I want to share it with you. So I reached out to the developer just to say congratulations. I absolutely loved it. And I got back the most appropriate and awesome response. I finished my thought by saying, congratulating you and your team on constructing such a wonderful, lovely, and warm experience for us all. I love Mixtape. And he said, Johnny said, thanks, my dude. I appreciate you reaching out. Dope to hear. I'm eating a burrito right now and things are good. Peace to you, friend. And I'm like, yes, that is exactly the response that
Yeah.
I would have hoped for. So
I feel like that's more the energy that we all could use. in that
yes.
world.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
threw it.
I
I'm
agree.
eating a burrito. All is good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
shit, yes.
I've known Johnny Galvatron too since his first game as well, and he's a very funny guy for sure, and that comes through in the dialogue here. And like in an interview, he said one interesting thing was that they, in this game in particular, they came up with the songs first, right?
Yeah.
And identified the songs and then built the game and the scenes where those songs play around the songs, right? And so that's why it feels like there's such close integration between the music and the
That's a-
gameplay, right?
that's a
And
really
what's going on in
similar-
the scene.
That's a really
That's cool.
similar energy to what they did with what the team on Scrubs do and did. And what Zach Braff did with Garden State was really music first and that in mind as you develop the narrative around music that means something. I have not.
And it works so well, right?
Yeah.
I haven't touched it yet. It's sitting on my backlog, ready to play. My older kid who he actually knew about it before I did and was like, it came out. I'm going. Shut up. I have to go downstairs. And like I didn't know what he was talking about. And he came up later. And he was like weeping and having this amazing experience with it. And I was, the notion that people get so up in arms and persnickety about what a game should be
Mm-hmm.
is it's so funny that this industry is now going through it now. Movies went through that, music's gone through it. But to have that now be the argument, I'm looking around this room I'm in and I'm like, well, if games should be what they always were, then Demon Attack for the Intellivision would have been the end all and be all of gaming, and we should never have changed from there. And so we should never try anything different or weird.
Right. That's a good
Yeah,
game, though. That's a great game, by the way, though. Demon Attack on the Television is pretty rock solid.
Hey,
Good
listen.
pick, buddy.
Listen, this whole room is no skips, all bangers.
I know. I can't step in that room because I lose track of time. All right, let's talk. So yes, Mixtape. If you haven't played it, you're missing out. It is truly just a very unique, lovely, heartwarmingly crafted experience. Although there was one little controversy that there was some discussion that happened on LinkedIn about, kind of implied threat or things like that in the game. And the thing that I try to remind myself of is that, kids at that age, their emotions are so overwhelming, right? That again, this thing that happened at school, it's the end of the earth, right? Because it's just so devastating. And we, as the impartial observer, know that there's no real threat there, right? This is an outpouring or overpouring of emotion, right? So important to remember to parse that. And also it's a story, right? So I don't think anybody's giving permission to act in any particular way through this. This is a story. These are the lives of these characters. Loved it.
This
I
is the
think
thing
we only hurt our industry when we fight about what games are.
Yeah.
I think you commented about this, Dean, on Facebook. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like the mobile games that became a gateway drug into our industry. Like there's something to be said for the fact that people find their first game, and that first game might lead them to other games, and that grows our industry. There's nothing bad about something not being for you. But there's no reason to be disrespectful for it and downrating it and all that stuff. It just hurts us as an industry.
But I think Chris is onto something. When you talk about how people react to these moments in these games, and I think there's something intrinsically different about the art form that is inviting the player, the audience rather, to interact with it and change, quote unquote, change it, even if Mixtape is akin to a visual novel, and there are no choices to be made, and it is not even a telltale level of impact. The fact that we are putting a controller in someone's hand and saying, you're in control of this. This isn't their story, it's yours, right? When we talk about games, we don't say things like, did you play Breath of the Wild yet? When Link does this and when Zelda does that, no, you say, I was playing Breath of the Wild and I did this. I figured this out. I discovered this shrine. These are things that we do. And so I think there might be some sort of psychological trick going on that heightens the emotion of the experience, at bare minimum.
Well, I think it's because the actions take place within the body of the story that the author, designer wanted you to have, but you're able to make it personal. And that's the wonderful thing about video games, right? Final Fantasy VII, we all go through the very same beats. We start where they want us to start. We end where they wanted, but the journey is your own. And so we may have party compositions that are different, or lean into one storyline, or do side quests that others don't. That's the amazing thing about video games that no other medium does. You can't do it with a movie, and you can't do it with a book, right?
And when we collectively, when we go to watch a film, right, even if it's if we're watching the hardest movie, the hardest experiences to watch in a film, American History X, right? That is a hard film to watch, right? But it is something that we are being passively in observance of, as opposed to your point, when we take that controller in our hands and we are asked to do these hard things. There was a game that I just played. Oh gosh, it asks you to do something. It was probably maybe a Far Cry game where they ask you to do something really awful, and you can actually end the game by just leaving. And it's like 40 minutes, the game can just be over. Not even 40 minutes, like the first 4 minutes. But it is asking a different experience. And so I think when people are responding to something, when people are talking about a game, even if they don't know they're doing it, the game means something more to them than had they watched it. So when people are talking about Mixtape, when things make them feel uncomfortable, it makes them feel even more uncomfortable than if they were just watching a movie with the same concept and theme.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I just realized too, we've got 10 minutes left, and there's a couple of big news pieces we want to. So yes, Mixtape, go play it. Also, play what you like, love what you love. Don't listen to critics.
By the way, this is completely off topic, but film-wise, I watched one of my favorite movies in ages last night, which has just come out. It's called Sunlight It's on
Ooh.
Amazon Prime. It is. Oh my God, I've rarely just been so delighted with a movie. It's weird. It's a guy and a woman in a monkey suit.
What?
She saves him. She stops him from killing himself in the beginning, and it becomes the two of them, her in a monkey suit and him. And she's a comedian, Nina Conti, she's a British comedian, and she's a ventriloquist. She directed it and wrote it, and she's the one in the monkey suit. Oh my God, it's so good. Watch it tonight.
Nice.
Okay.
One of my favorite movies in ages. Great soundtrack too. You think it was a shoestring budget, but it's got a really good soundtrack.
All right. Awesome.
Had to throw that out there.
No, perfect. Perfect. There were a couple of big ones, other piece of news here that Dean had reported on that I thought were important to discuss since we had been discussing these in previous weeks. Unfortunately, here we are again. You know, Last Flag Studio had to lay off staff as the game from Imagine Dragons Brothers misses those targets. So, Dean, you had a chance. You've met with them and obviously interviewed them and have played the game. Not that it wasn't getting picked up; it just didn't hit the targets that they set for themselves.
Yeah, no, it's that's a sad story. I mean, they did not have a large team. I think they used some external development talent as well. But the core team had been working for years trying to figure out like exactly how to do a capture the flag game the right way. And that's what the band brothers, Mac Reynolds and the lead singer, Dan Reynolds had as this sort of dream for many years. Like they used to play, their dad used to be like a scoutmaster, and they used to play capture the flag in the woods in real life, right? And so they always wanted to go back, and they were fans of the early capture the flag, Quake, mods and all that, and so they just wanted to go back to those days and recreate that sort of feeling of a great capture the flag experience. And I guess it turns out that it is a very narrow choice or a narrow taste. In many games, capture the flag is just a mode; it's not a whole game, right? And so, I think they tried this idea, which is not a bad one, to just do a great capture the flag experience, and it was good. They mixed it with some things that brought the teams together into central fighting spaces, but also there were different skills you could have, like deceiving people, moving in stealth, going to sneak around the big battle happening, and then go grab the flag, and then come back and defend it, right? So I think there were very fun elements there. We did an in-game interview with them, the Reynolds brothers, and we had a blast, playing 5v5 matches. But yeah, it was a little thin. It had like maybe just 2 maps at the outset, and they had like a third one coming. So perhaps not enough variety for people to play in like a kind of endless loop, right? Yeah. But it was also only $20, right? It was
it's got solid reviews on Steam too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just doesn't have the concurrent players that kind of game needs.
Yeah.
There it is again.
Yeah. Well, best wishes, of course, to the team. I know they want to continue trying to figure out, even on. I think in the article they want to figure out how to continue building.
Despite the layoffs they just had, they are going to continue with a core team that was going to work on other games.
Yeah. All right. Our best to them as well. And then it's a toss-up between. Let's talk about the one story that we hadn't talked about since this one just popped up here, which was PSAI, how Sony's game chief is going all in on AI gaming.
Sorry, I just fell asleep.
I almost fell asleep that night looking through Sony's earnings announcement too, and then the Q&A popped up, and I just started reading through it, and then there's this long section on AI, and that's the only thing that the Sony PlayStation chief talked about in the whole earnings presentation, which is all the things they're doing in AI. So from like doing better hair for characters,
Right.
all the way to Gran Turismo's better AI versus the best human drivers in the world, right? And things like that. So I don't know. I think that for sure, the AAA companies all have different priorities right now on how much they're using AI, and how much some of them are backing off on using AI because of the unpopularity of the idea of either replacing developers or whatnot. And so, I think uh, uh, Susan, though, I think you guys have figured out how to use AI in a way that's new, right? And that is a new
Thank you.
experience,
Right.
and it's also involving creators and artists still in a way that their work is appreciated, right? So
It's a different message, and I wish we weren't. I in some ways it's cool to be the only ones doing something, and that's nice from a commercial standpoint. But on the other hand, like what we're doing is what more folks should be doing, using it as a way to empower players to do stuff with their games, not ripping people off, building great systems, and then
Right.
it becomes like procedural content or UGC. It's just AI is good at being trained on stuff. That stuff can be our stuff that it's trained on, not other people's ripped off
Right.
stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's cool to hear. So look, Sony and Microsoft are all doing it. I just haven't seen any evidence that they quite know how to be innovative with it yet. Like
Yeah.
how many
That's
more?
the thing, is that it
Mhm.
means so many different things and
Right.
so many different executions to just say we're using AI to make games better.
I went through an hour-long debate where I was listening to, of people on both sides of the AI conversation, and not once was it said that it could be used for anything other than productivity and tools. And I'm like, that's one area of
Right.
Gen AI. There's a whole other area.
We've been
that you
using
guys aren't even
machine
thinking about.
learning and AI systems for decades in the games industry, right? It's the over-rotation on this. So as companies find,
I do think that it would go over better if AI were arriving at a time when the game industry was not laying off tons of people
100%.
yes,
and CEOs were not reporting record profits, right? And
Yes.
so
All
it
of
just
that.
makes
Yeah,
people suspicious. Like it's like
AI becomes the whipping boy. It's
Yes.
that's obviously AI's fault that all this is
Right.
happening, and not the pandemic overinflating stock prices and not being able to maintain that, and games that were too expensive, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we are now right up to the end of our hour together here. So why don't we go ahead and end on a bit of what we've been playing? So who wants to jump in first and tell us what you've been playing and what you love right now?
I did play Mixtape, and I gave it 4.99 out of 5. Just nitpicking about the sprites being so visible sometimes that they were not part of the background.
Do you mean the main characters or the sprites in the environment?
Yeah, the main characters, when they're moving around in the world, they seem like they're pasted in the world.
Yes.
Right? So,
That's what I loved about it, because they're 24 frames because they're 24 frames a second. They're 24 frames a second in a 60 frame per second world. And so they do look disjointed. They do move at a weird pace, because I felt just kind of this
so you liked
crap.
it, but I felt
I
like
loved
it
it.
broke some of the illusion for me, right?
No, I loved it. I loved it. See, but that's where
Now
Dean
I'm
and I
dying to
are
play it.
0.01% off from each other.
Yeah.
Awesome. Susan, how about you? What are you playing?
Well, I just finally stopped playing Slay the Spire 2 and Monster Train 2 for a while. I'm going to go back to them. They're both great games. Slay the Spire 2, the difficulty is all over the freaking place.
It's wild.
Jesus Christ. I'm so fed up with getting right towards almost the end of the third floor, and with an amazing deck and no trouble, then all of a sudden I get wiped out by something I have to kill 3 times. So that annoyed me. And Monster Train 2 has its own weird issues. They've put in all these new mechanics that I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out how some of them work. I reinstalled, what's it called? Now I'm forgetting the name of it. Hellcard. I reinstalled Hellcard, and so I've been playing that. You can tell I'm very much in a very specific genre at the moment, roguelikes.
Very
But,
cool.
yeah. And so that, yeah,
Awesome.
that's the answer.
How about you, Alan? What are you playing?
Retronauts did a episode last week on Wind Waker out of context, and it got me wanting to revisit. So I've been playing a mod called Better Wind Waker, which is on my AYN store, which basically takes all of the enhancements from the Wii U version and puts them into the GameCube game. So you play kind of the game as intended with a little bit of quality of life improvements,
Right.
which is really nice, and it's been fun to revisit that piece of Zelda, especially because something that I didn't wholly appreciate is Wind Waker came out in 2013, maybe? No, earlier.
No, early in that. 2011.
No, anyway, every single mechanic in Breath of the Wild is in Wind Waker. It's all there. It's just, and I never made that.
All right, Dean. Go ahead, buddy.
And then the other thing I've been playing a lot of is Pokemon Pinball. Stern.
Oh, the real one.
Oh, the real one. The
Gotcha.
new one.
Gotcha.
Not the Game Boy Advance. So Stern has their most recent pinball machine that they've launched is Pokemon Pinball. Is designed by Jack Danger and Dead Flip, and it is a full-size pinball machine designed around the Pokemon theme. You can catch Pokemon and keep them on your Stern Insider Connected account.
That's very cool.
It's so much fun. I currently have the third highest score at Continues, and it makes me angry.
Well, that just means you need to come on out there and knock that score out. So there we go.
DC tomorrow, we're hosting the launch party for Pokemon Pinball. So come on down and play.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Wind Waker was 2002. Yeah, Matt, thank you. I don't know what the hell I was thinking 2011. No.
It feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Good Lord, 2002. Ah,
Yeah.
yuck. That makes me feel gross. But it is fascinating that it's all there. The crafting, the some of the aesthetics, the paraglider is there.
Yeah.
It's wild just how much of the game was already being thought of, you know, 15 years before they even started designing.
That's awesome.
The Wild. So.
I have to go check that out. For my part, I haven't started playing this yet, but I can't wait. Here we go. Nintendo Switch Online adds 5 more classics for May, and those 5 classics are Virtual Boy titles: V Tetris, Jack Bros, Space Invaders Virtual Collection, Virtual Bowling, and Vertical Force. And of course, I got the $100 little plastic expansion that you pop them in. Yeah, that one.
But Chris, why don't you just come here and play the real one?
Yeah, I had a real one. I'm good, man. I'm good. But that is what I am doing. I am going to be playing around with a little bit of this, and then I've got some travel coming up. So that's pretty much going to be the end for me. So I want to thank our special guest, Alan Brooks, for joining us today on Boss Rush. Once again, if you happen to be in the DMV, make sure you go ahead and check out Continues Arcade. It's amazing over there. They do incredible. They have incredible food service, just unbelievable. The Atari Lynx is my favorite, which is this braised short rib grilled cheese, which is just absolutely stupid and amazing. Everybody there is just so lovely. Definitely go ahead and check out the place. They've been working really hard to make it someplace special. We do this.
I really appreciate it.
Of course, and we do this. And then the Speakeasy, you got to go check that out. And of course, we are here every Friday at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Please let your friends know and join us. And that's about it. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Boss Rush. So thank you all so much for spending your Friday with us. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week on Boss Rush.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.